Et salutations camarades de YouTube, bienvenue sur la chaîne d'Ether14 Radio. Aujourd'hui une vidéo un peu particulière puisque nous avons eu l'occasion en mars dernier de nous retrouver avec Susan Calloway, Pernelle, Ariah et TBK afin de discuter musique et Final Fantasy XIV. Une interview que vous vous apprêtez à voir en exclusivité donc sur cette chaîne et pour laquelle nous avons pas mal bûché. Je remercie d'ailleurs Kotias Camorra pour la relecture et la traduction de cette interview, Nawiel Almyugar pour la relecture et la correction et Valentin pour le montage. Nous remercions nos invités, Susan Calloway, Ariah, Pernelle et TBK, pour avoir pris le temps de répondre à nos questions et d'échanger ensemble sur leur quotidien, que ce soit en tant qu'artiste ou également joueuse de Final Fantasy XIV. Alors, pour les besoins de cette vidéo, les sous-titres français seront placés en haut de la vidéo afin de pouvoir laisser aux personnes malentendantes les moyens d'activer les sous-titres automatiques de YouTube dans le bas de la vidéo. Je remercie également mon équipage, Kotias Camorra, Nawiel Almyugar, Daibi Netsumi et Castel Destil. Ensemble, nous formons Ether14 Radio, un podcast en Libre-Antenne que vous pouvez retrouver une fois par mois sur la chaîne Twitch d'Ether14 Radio. N'hésitez pas à venir nous retrouver, c'est une Libre-Antenne, c'est-à-dire que vous pouvez nous appeler en direct pendant l'émission pour poser vos questions, réagir au sujet que nous abordons. Cette fois-ci, malheureusement, pas de réaction en direct. L'interview s'est passée en décalé, c'est pour ça qu'on vous la propose sur YouTube. On espère qu'elle vous plaira. On se retrouve très vite sur la chaîne d'Ether14 Radio, mais également sur celle de Nawiel ou celle de nos autres invités quand ils streament. Retrouvez-nous en direct pour toutes les infos, les liens en description, les commandes Twitch, tout ça, ça se passe là-bas. Good morning, good evening, good night everyone. I don't know when you will be looking at this video. We don't even know when it will be released, but this is a very special format for Ether14 Radio. We are usually live and podcasting on Twitch, but this particular section has been recorded and we are here with Susan Calloway, one of the voices of Heidelin from Final Fantasy XIV, Pernelle and Ariah as singers and cover artists. So, good day, everyone.
Hello. 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 Hello, everybody.
To accompany me, of course, the whole crew, almost whole crew of Ether14 Radio. Now we just good evening to you all.
Hi.
So, while preparing this interview, I realized two things. First, we are in March, and during the month of March, we are celebrating something or defending something that is quite important, which is women's rights internationally. And I just figured out that we have almost all women here as guests. So my first question would be, is it difficult in 2023 to be a woman in the music industry?
Oh, I mean, yes, I think it is. I think it's a great time to be a woman, but I think our current social structures made it a little more complicated. I think there's things that are very beautiful about being a woman that I really appreciate. I think as a woman artist, I love that I'm able to maybe feel a little more free to express my feminine side or my emotions in my music. I'm actually, even though a lot of people know me from working on Final Fantasy, I'm actually a songwriter as well. And I'm a music producer, and I play piano and guitar and bass and a bunch of other things as well. And that's actually how I have made my living many years. And I love writing music so much because it's an opportunity to share, kind of your heart. And I think that women do that sometimes a little easier. And so I think that's something I love about being a woman now. but I don't know. It's that's an interesting question because I think it still has its challenges. I think especially like with everything going on in our cultures, even though internationally it makes things a little bit harder sometimes. I believe that answers the question. What do you guys think?
I do agree. I think there's obviously, depending on what genre of music you're looking at, a lot of the world has, there's stigmas with how we're supposed to look versus, and I think there's some pressure there that comes with it.
Yeah.
People focusing more on our appearances rather than the music that we're putting out and the emotions we're trying to express. So I think it's always a challenge for us.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
I agree.
That's very true.
Yeah, true. And especially with, I'm more exposed to the internet side of creation because music is not my main activity. Globally, I think there is a huge issue indeed with appearance and being judgy. I mean, we're creating music. It's not like exactly. It's not hardly. So yeah, Ariah and Susan, you made a good point. And I wish people, generally speaking, would enjoy simply what creators create. People need to enjoy what creators create, and that's it, and don't need to have some parasite thoughts or comments in it.
Yeah, I do agree. And I think, I know for me personally, that's why I kind of latched on to starting, a YouTube channel. And a lot of the earlier videos that I was putting out was just strictly, I didn't show myself in the videos. And I think a lot of that was just the pressures of what I'm supposed to look like. And, it's something I'm trying to branch away from a little bit more now, but it's definitely there. It's definitely a fear.
I agree with you guys. And I think, you know what, even additionally, I think as you talk about, people emphasizing appearance, I mean, that is also a problem. And I think also, another challenge is our age. I think that, I'm probably a little older than you guys. I don't know how old you are. But I mean, I find as I get older, I feel like I've never been better and have more to offer because I'm just, as you mature and get older, you just learn more. You have so much more of life experience and things to offer. And I feel like we tend to emphasize so much this super, super young demographic of music and artists. Like that's when you are hitting your prime. And I have to tell you, like, I don't agree with that at all. I think as I get older, I get better. And I think to send that message to young people, whatever they're pursuing in the arts, to think if you haven't succeeded by the time you're 25 or something, that you're just a has-been or it's too late is a completely wrong message. And I think, you know what I mean? And I think that we learn from each other as we get older. And I think that's, like, for example, right now, I'm starting to do a lot of artist coaching because I've learned so much and I've done so many things with my career that I'm really enjoying being able to mentor other young artists that are coming up and trying to learn. And that's been really enriching and rewarding. And I think we need to think of ourselves as artists, that this is a lifelong life pursuit. It's not something to just do for a few years and be like, all right, now I'm too old. And it kind of speaks to what you guys are saying about the appearance, because how many times would we turn off a video because you're like, well, that person just looks like they don't know what's going on because they're older or something, and we have no idea. And I think that's something in our culture internationally. I think it's maybe worse in the United States. I don't know if that's true. I think some other cultures still kind of celebrate. Like I know in the Japanese culture, they tend to respect older people a little more and really wanting to learn from them and things like that. But I think it's a little bit more of a fight as a woman. Somehow we become less relevant. And I think I'd really like to see that change because I think it's completely false.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I have to say thank you for saying that, Susan, because I feel like I've been having an existential crisis since I turned 30.
Well, see, that's all coming from culture, and it's just a bunch of crap. I mean, I don't know what else to call it. It's just not true.
It's not true. You're absolutely right.
But
then you have to just. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, but I very much agree with the fact that when you get older, you gain trust, you gain knowledge, and you feel more confident. And I totally feel that. I also reached 30 this year.
Yeah.
TBK, we're so old. Why are you
No, you were not. Stop that.
You're so young. Well, no, and you know what? When I think about when I was in my 20s and how I was, like, I really didn't know who I was. I had so much to still learn and figure out. And now I'm not telling you guys how old I am, but I mean, I'm definitely a little older than you guys. But you know, I just love, and I guess I would say that as an encouragement, as someone who is a little older, like, don't ever buy into what the culture says, because it's just not true. I love who I am now, and I feel so much more comfortable. Even though I am a little bit older, I feel so much more comfortable with my life, with my art, with my music, and I'm so excited about this next chapter of my life. And I feel like I've never had more to offer than I do right now, and that's something you can only get through experience. And I think that's what's, missing when we're younger sometimes, is that confidence, because we're still trying to figure out where we fit in and what we want. And we want to do, relationally, what we want to do with our careers, our music, our art, or whatever we're trying to work through. And what happens when it happens, and there should be a freedom to do that, and not have the stigma of like, well, you're too old, it's like, yeah, but I have so much more to offer now,
Yeah, especially sometimes just going to add to this, that especially as artists, the more you age and the more experience you will get as well, and it's just going to help honing your skills in a way, and to just get better and better. And as you said, also to gain confidence from the fact that you have all that experience coming in, and it's just, I think, a good way to see things.
I so agree. Well, I think I would also potentially argue that I think it's one of the things that's wrong with the music industry today. And that is that we celebrate so much that we almost, we don't, when you're 20, and, no offense to anyone here that is like in their 20s, but you're going to look at things a little differently in your 40s, because you've been through some stuff and you've got some scars and you've got some things to share. And I think your perspective changes, and we need that, because that's where wisdom is attained, and when we can offer that wisdom. I mean, I've always been, when I write music, especially now, I'm actually working on a completely new project and platform, and I'm very excited about it, because it's really going to hopefully really inspire and challenge my fans, even more, than past things that I've put out. And what I'm excited about is being able to really share some of that wisdom, and, not that I have all the answers, because I don't, but just to be able to encourage people, there is hope, that what they're doing, their life that they're building, and the character and the integrity that they're trying to develop as people, that stuff really matters. And we need that in our world. We have enough songs that say nothing, we need to,
Right.
We need to really think about, as artists, we have a chance to say something and really influence people and how they think about themselves, the world around them. Because, we have such a power as human beings when we are choosing to be loving, choosing kindness. We have such a power to change things just in that. And I think as artists, if we can be a part of that and be a part of that kind of inspiration, I mean, that's always something I've appreciated about Final Fantasy, is this kind of, pull between good and evil, and really challenging people to be courageous and to be heroes. And I think we have lost sight of what it really means to be a hero, and to stand up for what's right. And there's a lot of unsung heroes in our world that don't really maybe get the attention. They're the ones that are just faithful every day, taking care of their family, or being a good mom, being a good dad, and, just showing up, being honest, not lying, not cheating, not stealing, not like caring about that stuff, And I always say, like, who you are when no one is looking is actually who you really are. Mm-hmm. And what about inspiring our world to be that? Because imagine if we all started really caring about that, what kind of world we would be creating together, And I think that's sort of what I'm about as an artist. And I think that's such an important piece, because music is a spiritual thing, and it does affect our souls. And I think we have such a responsibility and opportunity as artists to really speak into that. So, okay, I know I soapbox you guys here, but that's this is my challenge for us all.
Could you describe how you discovered Final Fantasy and how you chose to explore it through music? Because Final Fantasy XIV was not your first Final Fantasy experience as a music.
Oh, it is not. I actually, I started working, I actually have been, like I said, I have like a music production company, and I write a lot of songs for films, for television shows. I've had songs in Top 40 radio. I've worked in publishing. I've worked in a lot of different areas of the music industry. I sort of got involved with Final Fantasy through Arnie Roth because he was a client. Arnie Roth is the orchestra producer, and he leads the orchestra in Distant Worlds, for those of you who don't know who he is. But he, very, very talented gentleman, and he has a music production company and hired me to sing on, numerous projects that he was working on. And then he started working with Naboo, and they were working on an audio CD, and that sort of was my first exposure, as I was asked to sing Memoria de l'Estona on Distant Worlds 1, that first CD release. And the fans reacted so much, and Square Enix really liked, my contribution. And that's right around the time they started doing Distant Worlds the live concert tour. It just started as like, hey, why don't you come and just sing one song? And then none of us knew at that time that Distant Worlds would be so successful and turn into this huge tour. And so I kind of I started my journey with it that way. And they started adding songs. They're like, well, why don't we have you sing Sutaki Dane and Melodies of Life and Kiss Me Goodbye and, Eyes on Me. It kind of just turned into this whole thing, And then Naboo, of course, was coming to all these shows. And that's sort of how I got involved in 14. Naboo was, attending the concerts, and we developed a friendship, and he really liked my voice. And he had just been hired. 14 hadn't even been released, and he was working on music for it. He goes, I really want you to be the voice of this game. So that's kind of how it started. He wanted, and so I worked obviously closely with him on that. And, do you guys remember when 14 first came out and they pulled it because there was technical problems? We were so afraid they were going to ditch the music because we're done all this work on the song. We're like, oh man, we really think the song could be powerful. We think, fans will love it. And we hope we don't have to start over. And we were so happy when they kept it. And of course, none of us knew Answers would end up being so popular. So then because of Naboo's involvement, he kind of, I became kind of his voice that he wanted to work with for the song, for his involvement with the music and 14. So. But I know that they had some great singers. So anyway, go ahead.
I was going to react to what you were saying, because on the Final Fantasy 1.0, 14.1.0, Idalin had no voice, and I think she hadn't no voice actor either. So you were the very first voice of the Idalin character. So you kept it through Heavensward song, and on Stormblood, your voice was the voice of the revolution, not the voice of Idalin, and the song was about standing up against tyranny and how to fight it. And my question was how did you contribute to all this song along the way? How did it work with Nobuo Uematsu and the other around Final Fantasy XIV?
Yes. I mean, one thing I loved about working with Nobu is that he was very concerned about me contributing something as an artist. He really wanted it to be a collaboration. And Nobu is not a singer. We know he is, of course, a genius, composer, but he's not a singer. So it was kind of fun to work with him from that standpoint, because he comes up with these beautiful melodies. And it was nice to be able to sort of, be able to contribute, because obviously, if you're writing a beautiful melody line, if you're not a singer, there can be some, like you have to make sure that there's a space to breathe and that it's going to make sense vocally to sing it the way that it's, it's being done. So we had to definitely make some changes and tweaks and things like that. So it was great to be a part of that journey with him, because I also am a writer. So it was like, I appreciated that he really, embraced that part of me. And that's what made it really fun, actually. And he's who's actually a really funny guy. He's got a great sense of humor. But it was really awesome to work with him. So I miss it. He's moved on to some other things now and working on some other games, and which is awesome. So I'm hoping we can work together again. I would love it.
And what was it stressful when he gave you room to propose things, or was it like did you had enough confidence already?
Well, you know what? I'd done enough things, and I've worked with a lot of very big, people in the music business. I mean, so it was, I don't mean that to sound, but I've had a lot of experience. So for me, it was just, when I'm working as an artist, I just go in and I really try to just it's not really about me or them. It's about, let's just do what the song needs and let's make this an amazing piece of music. And you sort of put your ego down at that moment and just kind of, I think like an artist. And so, I mean, it was, I guess, maybe a little nerve-wracking, but I was still so new to the situation. I just wanted it to work, and I wanted to be able to really give it a great vocal performance. So I was I've learned early in my career that it's important to speak up, and if something isn't working, you need to say so. And if it's not the right key, or if it's not the right, if there's any kind of issue, like, you want to be able to confront that, because at the end of the day, you want to be able to, you've got to be able to sing it over and over and over if it ends up being popular. You know what I mean?
But it must be awesome to have like this kind of artist relationship and be able to really work together and collab together on such pieces. It should feel amazing.
No, it was very amazing. And Naboo's what makes it amazing. He's such a humble guy. He doesn't come at it like he's trying to control it, or he was always asking me like, well, what do you think? And do you think, what if we tried this? And, so it was kind of, he's very open, and he kind of looks at his music the way I look at my music, of just like, let's just create something really special. I think I've done it for a number of years enough that I did feel comfortable with that. I just really wanted to honor, I knew it was a great piece of music when I first heard it. And I really cared about, contributing something great to it, just out of respect for what had been written, so.
It's easy to be impressed by such a man, and to have such personalities encourage you to work in their domain, be it movies or music. And I would like to go back to the previous question regarding how difficult it is for women in the music industry. And I would like to know if you have any names that come to mind of personalities that gave you the strength and the motivation to work in this industry, to overcome all the challenges, men or women, especially women. I think this is important for listeners that want to work in peculiar fields.
Well, as I said, music is not my main activity, so I'm more on the hobbyist side of it. But I guess as soon as you have people close to you who try to help you get the best of yourself, it's really important. I won't say much more because,
Oh, well, I had the chance to never experience like discriminations or things like that about being a woman in my music and the art things that I do.
Ariah, and will we end up with Susan?
I think from my experience, I kind of have a similar experience where like I've been through music school and stuff, and as far as like discrimination based on like being a woman, it wasn't a huge issue for me personally when I was in college, because actually, like, percentage-wise, most of us were women. But I think as far as inspiring me to, move forward and be braver and pursue the things I want to pursue, a lot of it was my choir director, really, really encouraging woman who kind of helped me realize that I had a voice, because I was actually a violin major in college. To this day, I think I regret not being a voice major because that experience actually made me realize, like, I think where my real passion is. So that's helped in terms of like my anxiety and, feeling like I have a little more courage than I had a few years ago. And
well, one thing that's nice about social media too is I think it's created an environment where you can really start that conversation with your audience and build a fan base, and that definitely contributes to building our confidence, and then just paying attention to like what people want to hear and being able to create content that fans will enjoy, and I think that that's something that's so readily available that hasn't always been the case, in history. So that helps, it helps with stuff. But is it my turn?
Please.
I think it is. You know who I actually really inspired me a lot when I was younger is Sheryl Crow. And I've always been a fan of her music, but what I really loved is she was one of the first music producers that came out. And after she'd released her first record, her second record that came out, she produced the whole thing herself. And she played a lot of the instruments. And I loved that. And it really showed me that I could do this on my own. I've had some amazing talent around me through my career and still do. But I think one of the producers I worked with, a really talented Grammy award-winning producer named Gerard Smerrick. He's worked with, Mariah Carey, Aretha Franklin, I could down the list of people he's produced. And he was one of the first producers I worked with that was like, listen, you can do this. And that's when I got my own studio, because I met him when I was very young, and got my own studio and really started recording my own music and producing music. And I think having that kind of control as a woman, because I think typically women, at least when I was younger, it was more like, well, it's great that you sing and write music, but you need a guy to help you record and put all this together, because most of the engineers were men. And as a woman, seeing Sheryl Crow kind of go, yeah, guess what? I'm doing this. and just kind of doing it. And then the record was fantastic. And it won, I think, a couple Grammys. And I was like, this girl is so cool. I love that she's doing this. And even if you don't love her music, the fact that she was just ready to slay with what she did is really admirable, because she opened the door for a lot of women. And now there's more women producers, because honestly, I'm at a point now where as much as I love performing and writing my own music, I love producing for other people too. And that's something you can do forever. And it's totally creative and fun. And that for me, that's where I think the industry's opened up more for women in that part of it, the technical part of it. And it's, and it's been through people like that have sort of paved the way and been like, look, we're not just singers that, are look cute in the corner, doing our thing. Yeah. Kind of like the mentality, if you're going to sing and play guitar, you have to be folk or country or something. It's kind of like, no, I actually have 5 electric guitars in my studio. I'm actually not a folk singer. Don't put me in that, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of that too in women's music, where it's like women's music, all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, that's you're country or folk because you play the guitar. Isn't that cute? No, I actually rock, and I have a Les Paul, and I have a big amp. So I do actually. I have a Wagner stack in my basement, man. So
you just gave me you just gave me a new world dimension of man. I feel like a woman from Sheryl Crow.
I love it. Another name that actually comes to mind is actually Sarah Bareilles, because I've been following her journey since, she came out with her first single all those years ago. And now she's creating music for Waitress and stuff. And she's just, I just think she's a genius.
Oh, for sure. She's and it's funny you bring that up, because I always use her as an example, because a lot of the people that I coach, I always tell my students, my goal for you as an artist is that you have a huge box of tools. And that's why it's so important that you have some coaching and training, because it gives you more tools than what you have, that you can actually work and move into different parts of the industry, because you don't know what opportunities are going to happen. And it's just like with my career, I would have never guessed I would have been working on this video game or doing, singing with a live orchestra all over the world for the last 7 years. That was I would have been like, what? If you had told me that 10 years ago. So, and being prepared for those opportunities is so important. And I think that's where, that's another piece of this, that it's so important to, continually grow and learn and add to your toolbox so that you can take those opportunities. Because she's a great example of that. She hadn't had the training that she's had. She'd never be able to work in theater, because that's a whole other thing than pop music. You know what I mean? You've got to have that background. So, but I know you went to school, so you've probably had some of that. So, yeah, right? Did you say you went to music school?
Yeah. I went to music school, but my focus was violin, which I think, because I actually took a break after 3 years. That was 10 years ago. So I'm okay with it. I haven't gone back, but I actually, for a lot of different reasons, I wish I had been a voice major, because I think they would have opened up more opportunities sooner rather than where I am now. But I'm also, I'm okay with where I am now. I think I'm happier than I was back when I was in college.
Well, it's never too late to learn too, and just to enhance your gifts. That's, that's where a lot of the people, not to talk you into coaching with me, but I have a lot of people I work with Well, seriously though, a lot of the people I coach are semi-pro or even professional already, and they're just wanting to grow. They just want to add more things to their box of, a box of tricks that they can do, and that's very valuable because it's very competitive out there. There's a lot of good people, and none of us hear ourselves clearly. You know what I mean? None of us see ourselves or hear ourselves clearly, and that's what's great about community and creating music community, because you can kind of sharpen each other, and
and it's just like you said before, you never stop growing, you never stop learning.
Yes, exactly. No, that's awesome. It's very cool.
Going back on the Final Fantasy question and how you came to music with it, Pernelle, TBK, and Ariah, how did it work? How did you meet Final Fantasy music and told yourself, okay, I have to sing that, I have to perform this music, and made them my own? Wants to start?
I can start if you want.
Yeah, let's go.
Oh, well, I've known Final Fantasy games and music since I was a child because my brother actually played those games, and he was also a pianist. So whenever he wanted to play songs and he came up with some Final Fantasy partitions, I was there and he asked me to sing and learn some of the Final Fantasy songs. Well, at first, to me, it was like, it's a music that lives with you. But the moment when I really realized I was into that kind of music and the music in general from these games was when I discovered Final Fantasy XIII. Because at first, 13 was really, there were a lot of critics about this game, and I was also criticizing it, but I wasn't, how to say, I didn't play it at that time. Well, when I started playing Final Fantasy XIII and I heard the music by Masashi Hamauzu, I said to myself, this is exactly the kind of music that I want to make. I want to take it as a great inspiration and perform that kind of stuff myself. And that's also how I started to compose what I call space jazz. It's like a fusion of different cultures and sounds, but the main point of it was Masashi Hamauzu's music, clearly. Because when I heard this, I was totally entranced with it. That's how I really met the music from Final Fantasy, and then it made me discover the other ones and love the other ones too.
So the first song I recorded for YouTube was Dragon Song. Actually, before my Final Fantasy music covers and so on, I used to make covers of anime and Vocaloid songs. And before that, I enjoyed a lot bringing my own touch in the songs by creating French lyrics for them, like singable lyrics. And I wanted to do that with Final Fantasy XIV. So I tried this, but Dragon Song, it was, the lyrics are really specific and beautiful, and I couldn't find a way to translate them efficiently, let's say, in French. But I really loved the song, and it really, the song I enjoy the most singing live also. And I remember also, Susan, back in the day when I released the cover, you left a comment and it made me really happy, and it was really encouraging.
I'm so glad. If I ever come across that stuff, I always try to, because I think I'm always really honored, that someone likes the song, or that they would want to do a cover of it. So
that's awesome. It made me really happy, and it gave a boost, right? And
I'm so glad to be there. Makes me so happy.
And I continued singing the songs I could, because to be honest, the songs are hard. Sometimes I'm thinking of tomorrow and so on. But at least, since I can't really draw, if I can at least sing it, and the songs from Final Fantasy XIV are really full of emotions, and that's really the main part of it. I love emotional songs, and I love songs where I can give some power to. I really enjoyed them simply, and and it brings a lot of joy to sing them overall.
Nice.
Ariah?
So my first exposure to Final Fantasy music was, well, fun story. I had Final Fantasy X before, I had Final Fantasy X months before I had the actual system. So I was really attached to this game. So I finally got to play it. I fell in love with the music from that game. I have such vivid memories of back when I was in high school. There was a pianist, another student, who played to Xanarkand on the piano all the time. And it was just, I think I don't know, that's just when it occurred to me that like, oh, I can like learn video game music. What? There's a thing I can do? So, and then as far as the covers went, TBK, I think the first Final Fantasy cover I ever actually listened to on YouTube was your cover of Equilibrium. Oh. And I think that's kind of when it occurred to me that like, because I had been covering songs at the time. I'd been doing just like you've done before. I used to do like, cover anime music, random Broadway tunes, just basically anything. And it just never really occurred to me, I think until then, that, I could start exploring, performances of these beautiful Final Fantasy XIV tracks. I think my first one was Footfalls, or it might have been Dragon Song. I don't remember. But I think that's what honestly attracts me to Final Fantasy XIV's music so much. There are so many genres that you can explore within this one game. Like, you've got the epic, these beautiful, powerful ballads like Answers, and you've got like, In the Balance. This is just a totally different vibe to anything we've ever heard before. Scream, like we're going real hard with that one. So, and it's been kind of a way for me to explore what styles I'm feeling comfortable with and, exploring things I haven't done before. So I think that's really special about the music from FF14. There's something for everybody in it.
That's true. Back on Answers, this song is such special in the game. Like when it came back in Endwalker,
God, it just went full circle, full circle right back to Answers. It's just so beautiful.
It's such an epic song.
Yeah.
Susan, did you know? Because I think Final Fantasy is quite a part on the video game industry regarding to its music. I mean, we have many games with tremendous original soundtracks, but I think Final Fantasy still is a step away and beyond everything we know, because music has been an important part of the series from the very beginning. When you started working with Arnie Roth and Nobuo Uematsu, did you know that there will be such an audience to your music, to your work through the game series?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, that's what was kind of so crazy about the experience, because it was we had no idea. But I have to tell you, when we did work on Answers, I mean, I would answer it two ways. When I was working on Distant Worlds, that was very unexpected that tour would become so popular. So that was, that was kind of more of a surprise. When we first started working on Answers, though, I think we all knew, including Arnie, that it was going to be a special song, because I really feel like Nobu wrote something that's just he's an incredible composer, but I mean, I really feel like he outdid himself with that song. I mean, it's just such an unusual song too. It's like this epic, like, I don't even know how to explain it. It doesn't really fit into a normal format of anything. And it's very, so creative and so unique. And I think we all knew, like, if that song could be released, that it would be really amazing. I was very, very honored to work on that. So, but no. No, to answer your question.
Actually, I would have a side question going with it. It would be more for the other three. Would there be like maybe one or two songs, I don't know, which maybe surprised you in their success, but you covered from the game, and that may have completely blown up in a way that you didn't really expect?
Do you mean as far as our covers go?
Yeah.
So Falls. that was the first one that I did that kind of blew up. That's when I first started talking to like Husky, and Alex left a comment on that video, and I didn't really know what was happening. So I think that one was the first one, and of course the first collaboration that I did with Husky for In the Balance. I hadn't seen numbers like that before. Right, it's just so like a little like overwhelming, but in like the best way.
Well, for me, for 14, it was NSYNC with Husky, the same as Ariah said. Like it was crazy, and it was also our first collab, and I was really afraid of people's feedback. I mean, I really did my best here, but it was a hard song for me. So when I realized that people loved it, I was so happy. And on my channel, it won't be Final Fantasy, but it's still Square Enix. My French version of A Weight of the World from Nier Automata. So I'm really happy with the French adaptation I did, and it had some success. And yeah, I'm really proud of it.
Nice. Well, for me, I've covered only two songs, but one song from Final Fantasy XIV, and it was Flow, back in January on Twitter, and yeah, it's really blew up. And Soken answered. He put a comment on the video, and I was like, "Oh, is it a fake account? Is this real?" And then the second one with TBK, dedicated to Moonlight.
Really nice.
Really commented on that.
It was totally out of my comfort zone, because I don't usually sing rocky things and metal songs, and this arrangement of the song is really rock. And I was like, okay, I should come up with something different from what I do usually, but we'll try.
Okay, but the ad-libs that you did on that cover were like,
yeah,
so good.
And I had a really fun time listening to the original harmonies and ad-libs and recreating something that would be good for the different arrangements, but also loyal to the original.
Yeah, you guys did a beautiful job on that.
Thank you.
I'm lucky to have you.
I agree, it was tremendous, and that's how I discovered you, Pernelle, and I since I have listened to other part of your work, and I have to say, I'm quite sorry we don't have much time tonight to speak about your work more specifically, because I would really love that. You got yourself a new fan.
Oh, thank you. I had a question for Susan when we were talking about how she went into Final Fantasy XIV, and when she was asked to sing on the first Final Fantasy XIV songs. It's just, how was the project actually presented to you, brainstormed to you?
You mean when I first got the opportunity to sing on Final Fantasy XIV?
Yeah.
It was, well, I mean, it was basically, they told me about there was going to be a new game, and Nobu was going to be the main music writer, and that he wanted me to sing a theme song. And then he started sending me, he had it pretty far along, and then he sent it to me. And even before it was called Answers, I actually have the sheet music still. It says song on the top. It just says song, which is kind of funny. But that was my first interaction with the music, was when, was kind of he had it kind of mapped out, and then he wanted my response, and he wanted me to, I had to pick a key. That was a big concern of like, okay, what key should it be in? And it was tricky because it was tricky to find a key that would, because it's such a, as you know, because I think a few of you have recorded it, it's like it covers a lot of,
Oh yeah,
a lot of the melodic fields. So it's
a lot of territory in there.
yeah. So it's kind of a big commitment. You go, okay, is this the right key? I don't know. So that made it kind of challenging. But yeah, that's sort of, I don't know if that answers, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. May I ask, what is your full range?
What is my full range?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think I have actually a pretty high range. I have a 3-octave range. I mean, I probably low C to 3 octaves up. I mean, I don't always utilize that for pop music. Obviously, it's a little more in the middle. But what I can do, and the thing is that you can always keep growing your range. My range is always growing.
That's true, and that's great.
Working on her. I'm always working. So yeah, awesome. And I look forward to hearing the music that you guys have worked on too. I plan on following up, and I'd love to hear what you guys are working on, because it's always a pleasure to meet other musicians, and especially other women musicians too. So I think it's great. It's great that you guys are contributing so many good things to the community. So I really applaud that, and it's a pleasure to meet you. And I'm really honored that you would work on anything that I've worked on. I'm very very flattered and happy that hopefully I've been an inspiration a little bit. Not that you need me, but I'm glad that glad to meet you guys. And if I can ever do anything to help encourage you, please keep me posted. Give me, of course, let me know what you're working on. Send me links. I'd love to support you any way I can. So
Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
I was going to say that thank you first for being here, and thank you for everything you do, not only on the music side, but on the let's say positive vibe, positive thinking side. I see a lot of that on your Twitter account, but I think it's really important nowadays, especially on the internet, to share some positive thoughts. And I really appreciate that you do that. So I really think that it's really nice that important figures like you share this kind of positivity. And thank you for that.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I'm very honored to work on all this stuff. It really has been a big blessing to me. So I just look at it as an opportunity to try to help other people too. I think that if you can, because music is something we all enjoy. We're all part of this, even if we can't sing, or we don't play an instrument. And music is something that we can all enjoy and be a part of. And I think, I just want to, I'm just honored to be a part of the community and to be able to, hopefully inspire you guys, So.
Thank you very much.
So thank you so much. You're welcome.
We are approaching the end, so Susan, thank you for your time and your availability. Where and when would we be able to find you on stage or performing? What's your schedule?
Well, I've got some things coming up. They haven't been announced yet, so I'm not allowed to say. But I do have some shows that will be coming up with Distant Worlds. I'm also working on a new project for my own music that's going to be coming up. I'm actually going to be doing all new social media sites. The best way to stay in touch with me is to join my mailing list, which I have an email sign-up list on my website, which is susancalloway.com. But on my website, that's kind of my hub for everything. I share all my coaching information. I have a fan club on Patreon. I have all my new upcoming events and dates are going to be listed on the website as well. So that's also something that is available there. But that's the best place to keep in touch. My Facebook and my Instagram and my Twitter accounts have all been hacked, and I currently do not have any. I know it's a whole nother conversation, but that stuff has been. I don't even know if I'm going to be returning to Facebook because it's just been a mess, which is really unfortunate. So I'm sort of seeking some new things. I'm going to be building up my YouTube channel and maybe focusing on Instagram and TikTok for future. But that's sort of in a nutshell. Sign up on my email list. That's the best way to keep in touch and to check out my website. So here you go.
All right.
TBK, same question. Where can we follow you and what's coming next for you?
I'm most active on YouTube for the music, and I tweet a lot, I guess. My next cover will be released soon, beginning of April. It will be a French cover of the Suzaku theme. And I will try to go to the Eorzean Symphony concert if I can get ticket tomorrow. Let's see.
Oh, you try to go to Pernelle?
I hope so, but I don't know if I will be available to buy the actual tickets tomorrow.
Oh, terrible. And where can we find you?
Oh, well, I'm most active on Twitter and YouTube as TBK. I post music on YouTube, but also on Twitter. So some songs are posted on Twitter instead of YouTube. So if you don't want to miss anything, you better follow me on YouTube and Twitter. My next cover of Final Fantasy XIV music is actually a surprise that I was making for some months now. And it will be a special song that is Neath Dark Waters, the team from Amarok. And it will be a collaboration with some musicians from the community, such as Sunarika and other people I will not tell the name.
We're all on the edge of our seats here.
And there are lyrics on it. Lyrics were written on it, and it's sung. That's
Oh, nice. I can't wait to listen to it.
I can wait to show you.
It's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to hear it.
Oh, thank you.
Ariah, where can we find you?
So I'm also most active on my YouTube channel and my Twitter. My Twitter name's a little confusing right now. It's Minty2, which is actually the name of my Etsy shop, because that's why I created this Twitter, but it somehow became like a kind of a hodgepodge of I make actually Final Fantasy XIV job coasters and soul crystals. So those are on my Etsy shop.
And we thank you for that, because the soul crystals are so nice, and thank you for the pride.
you.
Thank you for the pride one. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, was that you? Oh. So, and I will actually be at Vegas Fan Fest, so that's cool.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you. I was one of the lucky ones somehow.
Yeah, that was a war
So
battle.
we doing that. It sure was. Yep. And then for my upcoming covers, my next one is actually not going to be a Final Fantasy XIV one, but it will be a Final Fantasy VII one, which is a collaboration with actually the same guitarist that I did Answers with. So I'm looking forward to releasing that if I can ever get my life together and record for it.
Is it a song from the remake or the original game?
It's the original.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Can't wait. Exciting. Well, actually, no. You say that. I'm thinking about it now, and my next two covers are from Final Fantasy VII. So
I can't wait.
the next one is from the original, and the one after that is from the remake.
No.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much for your presence. And Susan, I have to say, there are some things that you cannot talk about, but if I have a wish, it would be to see you both with Amanda Aiken, who has been our guest on the show. Both of you to perform as a duet would be amazing. I don't know if Square Enix will make that happen one day, but they have to.
Right. Well, it would definitely be fun. I don't know if they would go for that. But,
Yeah, we are going a little bit out of the interview now, because I know you have some obligations, but what you said earlier about singing and life, the way to feel better in life through music is something you share with Amanda, because she was saying the same thing, and that's very nice to hear that the flame was carried with the same vibes, and It's really it's motivating. Thank you very much.
Good. Well, that's awesome. Well, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I so appreciate it. And you guys are all lovely. And I wish you a wonderful spring. And I hope to meet you all at a concert sometime.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Same.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Take care.
Take care.
Thank you so much. All right. See you.
Thank you very much.
See you. Bye.
Bye. Merci d'avoir suivi cette vidéo, on espère qu'elle vous a plu, format un petit peu exceptionnel, on le disait, on teste des choses, n'hésitez pas à nous dire en commentaire ce que vous en avez pensé, n'hésitez pas également à liker, à vous abonner à la chaîne, et également dans les commentaires aussi, à nous dire si vous souhaitez qu'on perpétue cette expérience, peut-être qu'on prolonge les formats de ce type, en plus des épisodes d'Ether14 Radio que vous retrouverez sur Twitch, et en VOD ensuite sur cette chaîne. N'hésitez pas non plus à venir nous voir en live sur Twitch, que ce soit sur la chaîne d'Ether14 Radio toute la semaine. Quand il n'y a pas d'émission, il y a quand même des lives. Et puis vous pouvez aussi aller soutenir la camarade Nawiel Almyugar. Pareil, le lien quelque part ici ou en description de cette vidéo. On verra comment on fait. Comme on le dit, c'est une expérience. On va tester les possibilités de YouTube et essayer de vous donner envie de revenir nous voir et surtout de participer à l'aventure avec nous. Retrouvez-nous assez régulièrement sur Twitch pour du contenu sur Final Fantasy XIV, mais pas que, il nous arrive de faire d'autres choses. Je remercie nos invités, Susan Calloway, Ariah, Pernelle et TBK, pour avoir pris le temps de répondre à nos questions et d'échanger avec nous. Merci à tous, merci à toutes, à très bientôt.